Hi, welcome to the Digital Studio at the Edge Summit 2024. I'm joined on stage by Pierre Yves Calloc'h from Pernod Ricard, who's the Director of Digital there. Thank you. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
Today we're going to be talking about using AI to focus on profitability rather than revenue, and we're delighted to have you here, so thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to talk to you about, first and foremost, about how the digital landscape has changed. You've been at Pernod Ricard for a little while now, 21 years?
Yes.
Just a short amount of time then. And through that time, you must have seen the digital landscape change quite a bit. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, if you look 20 years back, it looks like prehistory. And I think the main changes were first the arrival of internet, consumers looking for products online, then the big boom of e-commerce, digital marketing. So all those were significant changes for companies. And now, in the past 2 years, we've had the big buzz of coming with ChatGPT about generative AI. Yes. But actually, it started earlier with what I call predictive AI, to separate it from the generative AI, which is about managing huge amounts of data, finding insights. And this is a big part of what I'm doing today in Pernod Ricard, is making sure that we leverage this technology to drive revenue, but also driving profit.
Okay, fantastic. And would you agree that in today's marketplace that there has been a shift towards focusing more on driving profitability and growing profitably rather than just growing fast?
Yes, especially because there was a change in the funding of startups. I think the initial craze about having your own website to sell directly products has probably come up to the reality that it's not always that profitable, and there's a big pressure on making sure that all that startup movement that started a few years ago with a lot of funding is actually now becoming profitable, so that we have solid companies to grow in the future.
What specific strategies have you implemented at Pernod Ricard to scale efficiently, let's say?
Okay, so to scale efficiently, the complexity is that in Pernod Ricard we have a really wide portfolio in the industry. We have more than 240 brands. You probably know Absolut Vodka, Jameson, Monkey 47. So we have many brands for any cocktail you might have at home or want to have at a bar. And so the complexity for us is to make sure that we get the right brands in each of the outlets. For example, a bar, a disco, or a supermarket, a hypermarket. And so making sure that we personalize the presence of our portfolio across the point of sales is key, and online is the same. You have different actors. You have, of course, Amazon, but you have also niche players, and we have our own website, which is called the Whiskey Exchange, which is selling really premium products. So your typical $1,000 bottle is there.
High AOV.
And so this is the different channels we are looking at, and the idea is to make sure that each time we have the right products, the ones that consumer will want. Yeah. And our objectives is to make sure that our clients, most of the time we are selling through through different clients to the consumers. We want them to perform, and the way to get it is actually to personalize the offer, and that's taking a lot of data, and this is where AI can come and help.
Absolutely. So personalizing to their own preferences. And so thank you for telling us about some of the challenges that you've faced, but I'm sure throughout the time as well that there is a lot of pushbacks around AI. Can you tell us about some of those pushbacks that you've seen when it comes to optimizing strategies with AI?
Yeah, the main complexity we have is that people usually have done a lot of things that AI can help do before. So for example, we've implemented a tool which is called Matrix internally, which is a marketing mix modeling tool. So it will help a marketeer to decide on their brand. So for example, Havana Club in Germany, it will tell to the marketer, this is the optimum mix of spend between what you're going to be doing on advertising in TV, out of home, in-store activation, e-commerce displays. And they've done this for about 10 years, 15 years before the AI tool coming in. And so they're saying, why would the tool be better than what I've been doing? And the way to explain is I like this analogy of Waze. I still remember discovering that amazing tool. I cannot live without it. But if you talk to taxis, for example, for a lot of time they were saying, "No, I know much better." Right. And I say, "Okay, let's check." And after getting to destination, I said, "Yep, we should have been there in 30 minutes following Waze. Right. We got there in 37 minutes." And the person says, "Yeah, but there's no way I could know about that traffic jam." Well, maybe you could have. So it's using analogies like this one, but also it's listening a lot to the experts internally, taking their insights, because some of the time they are having, for example, constraints. We've already negotiated that budget with a TV channel. We have actually a much better price if we buy a larger amount or a smaller amount of advertising during that period. And the idea is to be able to implement those business knowledge into the tools that you develop, to make sure that you get the best from the expertise that you always have internally, and what the processing of all the historical data about advertising, sales, etc., can help an algorithm to come with a recommendation.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, and you've talked about how you foresee the role of AI kind of feeding strategic decision making. Do you have any more examples of that, perhaps?
Yes, so the marketing mix modeling tool is one of them. So how do you allocate the amounts of money? There are also important items such as pricing. For example, the airlines and the hospitality industry have known that dynamic pricing for years now. This is why we pay a ticket for the same plane, sometimes £50 and sometimes 200, depending on the time you buy it. And so AI can help a lot to process all the information that comes into play on having the optimal price. And so we've implemented in the company a tool which helps to find the best recommended price to recommend to the retailers, for example, depending on the positioning of their brand, depending on the location of the store, because you could have potentially a different price in different parts of a city if your systems allow to do that. And so recommending that best price for each product is actually very interesting in revenue. And what we want is our customers to sell as much as they can, because it's a win-win scenario, and it's also a win scenario for the consumer who find the product that they want at the right price, at the location, maybe down the road for their nice dinner they're organizing tonight or
with a £1,000 bottle of whiskey.
That's one option, but we have Valentine's, which is much more affordable, for example, depending on the party you're throwing up.
And when it comes to cost optimization then and focusing on profitability and instead of just driving revenue, you must face some challenges as well around the costs of AI solutions. How do you manage those pushbacks that you get on that?
Yeah, so the AI is on itself not that expensive. There's a beauty today is that you have open source algorithms, for example, I don't know, TensorFlow from Google, which are free to use. You could be paying millions of euros in a big company like us for those, but the core of it is actually free. What gets expensive is the data that you need to get, and also the modeling. But the biggest part is what we've discussed before, is the change management. Right. How you get the adoption to be there, how you explain to the new users of a solution how things are calculated. So we actually work a lot on this part, the part of adoption through upskilling. So for example, we had a training program about Gen AI that we deployed throughout the company, from the top management, the middle management, etc., personalizing the content to our company. Yeah. To the job of each person, and that creates and avoids the rejection of technology. There's always
feeling left behind.
Exactly. There's the fear of being left behind. There's also the fears of what people do not know. You might remember 80 years in the 80s, nuclear was a bad word. Now it's becoming great because it's carbon neutral. And so explaining to people how things work helps a lot. And then every time we implement a project, so for example, we have a project for our sales force. Every Monday morning, they get a list of 27 outlets they should be visiting this week based on a lot of data. What people buy usually in that area, the promotions upcoming, whether it's close to a beach or a park, etc. So they get those recommendations. But what was important to get the adoption is the explainability. So to be able to explain why is this recommendation coming at this moment. And this is where people say, okay, I understand because, okay, this store is similar to that one. And so we spend quite a lot of time on making sure that everything that we develop in terms of AI internally has this explainability. It's not just a black box giving a recommendation or a result.
When people understand the logic and they can follow along a little bit more and understand how it can help their daily lives, I think that's really important.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. Okay. And could you tell us what AI trend are you most excited about? We've talked a lot about how things have changed, but looking into the future, what are you excited for?
For me, I'm still amazed with what ChatGPT is doing. I remember the first day I discovered it, I started with a few questions, and then I went bold. I said, okay, ChatGPT, what should be the digital strategy of Pernod Ricard?
Wow.
And then what came out was pretty much what we were doing. So the first thought was, wow, I don't have a job anymore. But then I thought, okay, but I'm doing a little more than writing this. I'm connecting with people, explaining the different things, creating teams. So, but I'm still amazed of what it can do. So, of course, in a business context where you have a lot of internal data and specificities of your company, the way it operates, etc., it's not precise enough. So you need to enhance the normal or public tool with a lot of additional information, user interface, and exactly some context for it to work. But I think we are at the beginning of the usage of it, and there's also the question of whether it's going to continue progressing in terms of precision, in terms of the types of usage we're going to get into the companies. So for me, that is a really exciting world that opened just 2 years ago. So it's very recent. And it's a small change in where an algorithm was configured that changed and created all the current movement we have around it. So I'm really excited to see how we are going to be leveraging.
How it's going to progress further. Well, thank you so much for joining us today in the Digital Studio. Really happy to have you here. Make sure that you check out the Digital Studio content for more episodes.